thank you very much, Dr Huck. It's a pleasure to serve on your chairmanship, and it is a great pleasure to follow my honourable friend, right honourable friend, beg your pardon, from Preseli, Pembrokeshire, who I thought gave us a wonderful picture of just how important county and the smaller shows are to rural life, the fabric of communities in Preseli, Pembrokeshire. And I'd also like to join him in congratulating the honourable member for North West Durham on securing this very important debate. I would say that he has timed it perfectly, coming at the end of the Royal Welsh Week, so I congratulate him on that front. But primarily, I congratulate him on giving us such a tour de force of not just the county agricultural shows in his constituency, but also the deep history and how important agriculture and rural life is to the life of his communities and parishes. I think he made a very, very eloquent speech describing in great detail of how integral these shows are to the social and economic fabric of the communities and parishes that he represents. And it wouldn't be much of a surprise, I think, to members this afternoon that I would like to make the same case for the role and the importance of agricultural shows in my constituency of Ceredigion. We've already heard this afternoon a very interesting point which I hadn't considered before coming to the debate this afternoon, of course, but the origin of a number of these agricultural societies and agricultural shows and the purpose that they had, yes, to showcase the wonderful produce and stock that farmers were producing, but also to that very important endeavour of exchanging best techniques and practices that was such an important role of the agricultural revolution, which, as a rural MP, I think is often downplayed in importance when we consider the history of the United Kingdom. For indeed, as the Honourable Member for North West Durham said, without that agricultural revolution, there would not have been the industrial revolution that followed. And I'm very pleased to say that, like my honourable friend from Preseli, Pembrokeshire, the Cardiganshire Agricultural Society was first established in 1784. So there was something in the waters of West Wales in that year. I'm afraid to say that it wasn't Mr Knox that was the founder of ours, although I do note that perhaps if he had been the former Minister for the Americas, that perhaps in 1784 he had a bit more time on his hands after the 1783 treaty. But the purpose, of course, of that society was to promote agriculture techniques and, of course, to share best practice. And I'm very pleased to say that they continue in existence and continue to meet on a regular basis. And it was a very fond experience of mine as a relatively new Member of Parliament to attend one of their annual dinners in Lampeter some years ago. And it was fantastic that their heritage and their origin, of sharing best practice continues to this day. But, of course, they also are integral and represent a broader network of societies, both on a parish and village level, but also larger towns, of holding the annual agricultural show. The first Cardigan County show was held in 1854, so there's a bit of a gap for the county show. And I'm pleased to say that we continue to have annual shows, barring the COVID pandemic and a few other instances over the decades. And it is, as I say, often the pillar of the local calendar. We've missed it for the past 2 years. And I am very happy to put on record that perhaps I underestimated just how much I missed the agricultural shows. Yes, my home show of Lampeter, but the other shows that as members of Parliament we have the privilege of well, there's a convenient excuse to attend all of them, isn't there? And I'm very pleased to say that in Ceredigion we have the best part of some 20 agricultural shows. And I'm very pleased to say that despite the 2-year gap forced by COVID, they're all now back up and running. The first one started in June and will continue now through to the beginning of September. And as well as obviously the produce and the livestock that are on show, which I'll go in to talk a little bit more about in a moment, it serves as an important social hub, I think, for rural communities. The larger county shows, the large shows we have in Cardigan and in Aberystwyth, are real spectacles, really impressive, and feats of logistics that I am really in awe of, actually, of the voluntary committees that are in charge of them. But the smaller shows as well serve such an important function. Especially, we've heard the Honourable Member for Preseli, Pembrokeshire mention just the number of challenges that agriculture is facing at the moment. And whether in Wales in particular we have changes to agricultural policy, we have obviously the disruption of COVID-19 and to some extent Brexit, and subsequently the challenge of losing large tracts of agricultural land to plantation for forestry and offsetting schemes. So in many ways, our farmers are under the cosh in every direction. And it is, as I'm sure the honourable members will know, a very lonely profession and livelihood at times. And so the local show is often a great opportunity where local farmers will take the day off and will go down to socialise with each other, to share problems, to share advice, but also to enjoy each other's company. And we've missed that for 2 years. So I'm so pleased that now this year, Dr Huck, we'll have the whole host of shows again in Ceredigion. They have merged in some instances. They have had to change quite a bit. We now have a great variety of displays and attractions. I mean, if anybody is in need of a holiday suggestion this year, I very much invite you to Ceredigion. We have it all. We have, yes, the core importance of an agricultural show in terms of the livestock displays and the goods, the vegetables and the preservatives, you name them. But also we have the speed shearing events, which are quite some fun. And the Honourable Member from Ynys may wish to attend a few in Ceredigion before she tries her hand at shearing at the Anglesey show later in August. We've also got the harness racing, several racing bouts as it happens, the vintage displays, the tractor runs, you name them, and of course the Bali Saturday celebration in Cardigan as well, which is, if members haven't been able to attend yet, I very much recommend you catch it next year. What we have then is a celebration of our rural heritage, but also, as I say, looking to the future of sharing techniques, technology, and perhaps most importantly, in my view, it offers young people a chance, especially at the local show level, to try their hand at showing animals, of entering their vegetables or their fruits and their preservatives, of competing. And in this regard, I'd like to pay tribute to the role of YFC Ceredigion, the county sort of organisation for the young farmers clubs, because the opportunities they give to our young people are second to none. And I should also like to put on record that they've had quite a good time of it in the Royal Welsh this week. The Ceredigion YFC won the display competition at the Royal Welsh. I believe they're playing rugby later on against Brecknock in the final. I don't think the kick-off has been yet, but I wish them the very best in that endeavour. And also they managed to win the National Federation of Young Farmers Clubs competition for the after-dinner speaking category. This is very much closely linked to the network of local smaller shows, because it's at that platform that they first have an experience of competing in a whole range of categories and codes, but they then feed up to the counties and then ultimately the Royal Welsh. And we've heard a little bit about the Royal Welsh already, and it is a fantastic event, a really, really impressive week. And I'd like to pay tribute to the organisers for even managing air conditioning for some of the livestock sheds in this week's warm weather. And my honourable friend from Brecon Radnor perhaps wouldn't thank me in reminding the House that the first ever Royal Welsh Agricultural Show was held in Ceredigion back in 1904. Although I'm willing to concede that the present location in Builth is just as good for the annual event. But without these smaller shows, without the county shows after them, the Royal Welsh would not be the great success that it is. And so in closing, Dr Huck, I'd just like to thank the scores of volunteers who serve on the committees of these small shows, who ensure that everybody is registered in time, that the information and the entries are in order, the insurance is sorted out. A particular challenge this year, I know, is securing marquees even for the produce tents. They do this year in, year out, often not seeking any thanks or celebration, but it's a great pleasure today, and I thank again the Honourable Member for North West Durham for giving us that opportunity to place on record just how much we do appreciate their efforts, because without their work, tireless work to make sure that these small shows, as well as the county shows, proceed and go ahead, then we won't have that opportunity every year to come together as a rural community, to share and to celebrate our rural heritage, and to keep a little bit of that social fabric to go on. Because I think it's something that all rural MPs will agree with me in, that there is a real specific type of community spirit in rural areas. And I think rural agricultural shows make an invaluable contribution to the perseverance of that spirit. So thank you.